It started like any ordinary case in Judge Judy's courtroom. A few papers, two sides, and a family story that sounded simple at first. But as the details unraveled, it became clear this was not just about rent or rooms. It was a story about trust, family, and the thin line between helping someone and being taken advantage of. Amanda Clark, a 24-year-old mother of two, stood before the famous Judge Judy Sheindlin with a calm but frustrated expression. Life hadn't been easy for her. She worked as a front desk representative at a hotel while her husband, Todd, handled heavy equipment for a living. Together, they managed to provide a decent home for their daughters, Madeline, who was 3.5, and baby Ileana, just 10 months old. Like many young families, they were balancing bills, childcare, and long working hours. They didn't have a steady babysitter, but they made it work with help from friends, in-laws, and neighbors. Amanda's younger brother, Brandon, was only 20, trying to find his way in life. He had a girlfriend, Nicole, also 20, and the two had been dating for about 6 months. Brandon worked as a CNC machine operator, and Nicole was a cashier at Buffalo Wild Wings. They were young, in love, and broke, the classic combination. When they found themselves needing a place to stay, Amanda and Todd offered them a chance to move in. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Family helps family, after all. The plan was straightforward. Amanda and Todd were looking for a bigger home, a 3-bedroom house with an unfinished basement. The rent was higher than their previous townhouse, so having Brandon and Nicole share the expenses made sense. They agreed that the 4 of them would sign the lease together and live under one roof. Each couple would have their own bedroom, and the kids would share one. During the house walkthrough, Amanda showed the young couple the available rooms. She offered them one of the upstairs bedrooms, near the children's room and the bathroom. But Brandon declined. He wanted privacy, quiet, and space away from the noise of 2 little girls running around. Instead, he chose the unfinished basement, a cold, concrete space that hadn't yet been turned into a livable bedroom. Amanda thought it was odd, but she respected his choice. At first, everything seemed fine. But after moving in, Nicole started complaining. The basement smelled faintly of cat urine from the previous tenants. The walls were unfinished sheetrock, and the floors were bare concrete. The laundry machines nearby made constant noise, hardly the peaceful setup Brandon had hoped for. Still, Amanda claimed they never brought those complaints directly to her. From her point of view, they seemed content enough, until they suddenly weren't. Judge Judy listened closely as Nicole took her turn to explain. She said she never even wanted to move into the new house. She believed Amanda had rushed them into signing the lease, making it sound like a temporary arrangement, just a short stay until they could find something else. According to her, Amanda had taken photos of their driver's licenses, sent them to the landlord, and never gave them time to read the lease before signing. She said she was in a rush, Nicole explained, her voice nervous but firm. We never even met the landlord. Judge Judy wasn't buying it. She leaned forward, eyes sharp. You're telling me you signed a lease without reading it? She asked. Nicole nodded. Then that's your problem, Judy shot back. You don't get to ignore a legal contract just because you were in a hurry. Amanda, standing tall, reminded the court that she and Todd had only decided to rent the new house because Brandon and Nicole agreed to move in. Without their share of rent, the new place would have been too expensive. They were the deciding factor, she said. If they hadn't agreed, we would have just stayed at our old townhouse. But things didn't last long. Nicole, who was pregnant at the time, began feeling trapped and uncomfortable. She told the court she didn't like being lectured by Amanda and Todd, who were older and constantly gave advice. She wanted to spend more time at her parents' house but said she had to sneak away to visit them. Eventually, the couple decided to leave altogether and move back in with Nicole's parents in Minnesota. Judge Judy's brow furrowed. So you left your sister and her husband to pay the full rent? She asked. Nicole tried to defend herself, saying Amanda had kicked them out through a series of angry text messages. But when Judy reviewed their written statements, she found no evidence of eviction, just frustration and immaturity. You left, the judge said flatly. You weren't kicked out. Amanda's claim was simple. Her brother and his girlfriend broke their lease and owed her money for unpaid rent. The couple had stopped paying after July 31st. They hadn't paid a dime for August or September. Amanda sought $1,000, covering 2 months' worth of rent, though she initially calculated even more. Judge Judy asked Amanda whether she had tried renting the basement or another room since they left. Amanda nodded, explaining that they'd posted listings online soon after. "We even have someone lined up to move in February," she said. "That's a long time to wait," Judy remarked. Amanda just shrugged. She wanted someone responsible this time. Nicole and Brandon, on the other hand, claimed they'd been unfairly charged. "They made us pay almost the entire rent increase," Brandon argued, "for a room that wasn't even livable." But Judge Judy wasn't sympathetic. "You chose that room," she said firmly. "You were offered a proper bedroom upstairs. You wanted privacy, and you got it." The courtroom fell silent as Judy summed up the case in her signature no-nonsense tone. "You didn't read the lease. That's on you. You moved out because your girlfriend wanted to go home, not because anyone forced you. You left your sister and her husband with extra rent to pay, and that's not fair." She tapped her pen against the desk and continued, "I'm awarding the plaintiff $1,000, 2 months' rent. Either find a roommate or learn to live with the cost. Judgment for the plaintiff." The gavel came down with a sharp crack. As the parties were excused, the tension between the siblings hung heavy in the air. Amanda looked relieved, though not entirely satisfied. She hadn't wanted to take her own brother to court, but she also couldn't afford to let him walk away from responsibility. Brandon and Nicole walked out quietly, eyes down, perhaps realizing too late that adulthood isn't just about independence, it's about accountability. Outside the courtroom, the air felt lighter, but the damage was done. Families can fight and forgive, but money and housing have a way of making wounds deeper. Amanda and Todd went back to their 3-bedroom house, their daughters playing upstairs while they continued fixing up the basement, perhaps this time for a tenant who wasn't related. As for Brandon and Nicole, they stayed with her parents, saving for their own apartment, just as they'd told Judge Judy. Maybe they learned something about reading contracts, or maybe they just learned that grown-up life isn't as easy as it looks. Either way, they'd walked into that courtroom as a couple in love and walked out as a couple with a lesson learned the hard way. And Judge Judy, sharp, witty, and unshakable, had once again reminded everyone watching that the law doesn't bend for excuses. Whether it's family or not, responsibility is responsibility. That's what makes her courtroom legendary. Not just the rulings, but the reality checks. When the episode ended and the credits rolled, the lesson lingered. Kindness doesn't mean carelessness, and family ties can't replace common sense.